So in this section of the course, I want to talk about deploying our product to a production server. And right away, you realize that there are two things we need to deploy. We need to deploy our React front end, which we'll take care of in this lecture and the next couple. And we also need to deploy our back end, which is written in Go. So let's get started with the front end. And the very first thing you will encounter when you try to put this to a production server is the kind of thing you see here on movies.js on line 12 in the component didMount function. And that is this URL. Because this URL will work in development, but clearly it's not going to work in production. And we need to somehow modify this so it'll work on our remote server. Now, we could go in and manually update the link to what is going to be in production for every request that we have in our app. But then, of course, we'd have to maintain two versions of our code, one for development and one for production. So the easiest way to do this is to use environment variables. And I'm going to take you to a web page right here. This is on create-react-app.dev, which is a great site. And under the environment variables section, it tells you how this works right here. In order to have something from the environment available to our application, we created an environment variable that begins with react_app_ all in uppercase letters. So let's do that. So I'm going to go to my terminal, and I'll simply, on a Mac or Linux, type export react_app_ and then whatever I want to call it. But I'll just call mine API_URL. And I'll make that equal to, and for right now, because I'm in my development environment, I'll just make it equal to http://localhost:4000, like that. Now I can use that environment variable right in all of my requests in my code. So here, for example, what I'll do is replace this with, and you'll see this right on that page I just was showing you. I'll delete that, and I'll put $process.env. and then the name that I just chose, which was react_app_API_URL. And then, to make this actually do the appropriate substitution, I'll change these double quotes to backticks. And now it's a JavaScript template. So if my application is running, and it's not, so let's start it. And there it is. This link should still show me the list of movies. And it does. So that seems to work really well. Now, obviously, you're probably going to want to put that environment variable in the appropriate script in your startup folder, or in the /etc/profile file, so you don't have to reinitialize it every time you start development. But that's pretty straightforward, and there are lots of resources online that show you how to do that, and chances are, if you're taking this course, you probably already know how to do that. Also, if you're on a Windows machine, you have to do it slightly differently, and this link right here, let me show it to you, and this is on the course resources for this lecture. This shows you how to set up environment variables on Windows, and it's pretty straightforward. Okay, so the first thing you have to do, of course, is to make this kind of substitution for every request to the URL that you have in your application. And there's no point in you watching me do that, but if you download the source for this lecture, you will find all of the updated requests in that code. So let's move on to the next step.